Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun Benzion. Today we will be focusing on Yevamos 91, Daf Sadi Aleph. Most of this daf, all of them in Beis and the bottom of them in Aleph, discuss the second part of our Mishnah, meaning the first part of the Mishnah talks about she's getting married, I'll be Eid Echad. One aid comes and says your husband died, she gets remarried, the husband comes back. There's a lot of penalties. She has to taste mizamizan, you get mizamizan, lose ksuva, whatever. You can look in the Mishnah on page 9 loses a lot of things, terrible things, because we're going to explain later, she should have investigated more properly. So they made a lot of penalties so that she should investigate more properly, and she should not just rely on this Eid Echad, she should, but when you have shtei eidim, right, so the Mishnah says seemingly anonymously, the Mishnah says in page 9 and Beis, it says this anonymously, that if she marries Shelo B'Rishus, meaning when she doesn't need the heter of Beis Din, if you go Eid Echad comes, you need to go to Beis Din and verify this Eid Echad is a valid Eid Echad. Beis Din gives a psach, Beis Din's Eid Echad. You can remarry now. If Shtei Eidim come, that's like any Shtei Eidim in the Torah. You don't have to go to Beis Din for a psach to allow you to remarry. You can remarry. Two witnesses said he's dead. You can rely on them, just like any Eidus in the Torah. Right, we're talking about two valid witnesses over here. You can remarry. So if you can remarry, it's obvious. So it sounds like it's both according to Rosh Shimon and the Rabbanan. No one argues about this. And therefore, if the husband comes back, she can go back to the first husband, because the reason she can go back to the first husband is because it's shogeg karov l'mezid, meaning it's almost like adultery, because she didn't investigate properly. Eid Echad we don't really rely on for most Eidus in the Torah. So the Eid Echad helps you out, but you're supposed to look into it. You didn't look into it, so it's like you almost committed adultery by marrying the second husband. So you can't go back to your first husband. It was really adultery. You can't go back to your first husband, Daraisa. So this is like a sota de Rabbanan. But when she gets married with two Eidim, I have a lemevid, the Gemara says. What could she have done? There's nothing she could have done. She could rely on two Eidim. Two Eidim, we believe that in the whole Torah. It's clarification. It's birur. What could she have done? So it sounds like both Rosh Shimon and the Rabbanan would say this. Now, Rav at the beginning of the Gemara, towards the bottom of Tanel, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav Hilchei Hilchasai. Paskins, the halacha is, she can go back to her first husband because she's not a sota, even the Rabbanan. She can go back to him. She's not also her first husband. And the Gemara seems to imply that Rav made a statement. Now, it's not clear that Rav meant to say a statement only according to Reb Shimon, but the reason that Rav Paskin, he's obviously saying that there's a dispute among this, and the psak is that you go and she can remarry. So obviously there's a dispute among this. So he says he must be saying like one opinion, and we're going to see Reb Shimon's more likely to say the opinion than Rabbanan. So it's according to Reb Shimon. Rav Shesha says, "What do you mean?" Rav Shesha says to Rav, "No. Why would the Rabbanan argue? My have a little mevet. What could she have done? She could rely on them." Now that's the discussion. The Gemara goes back and forth, and the Gemara at the end of Sadi Aleph and Aleph Beis, Sadi Aleph and Beis on the bottom. The Gemara tries to the Gemara tries to Rav Papa towards the bottom. He says Hasavad Mevet Uvda, my Havel Mevet, to rely on its conclusive. The Rabbanan argue. The Rabbanan agree with Rabbi Shimon, and it's a justified claim. She couldn't have done anything. It's not a sota de Rabbanan. It's not shogeg karov l'mezid. It's a shogeg. She's unintentional and been honest. So therefore, she can go back to her first husband. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? We have a lot of questions from all these cases with Gittin and with Islandness and all these cases, where similarly, there also is a time that Mahavel Evidence and Onus, and still we penalize her. We can't go back to the first husband. Why do we penalize her over there? So the Gemara said, we gave answers for those questions, right? There, she could have read the get. She could have checked if she's an island, or waited if she's an islandess. Here, there's nothing she could have done. The Gemara says, what? On these dachak answers, these are not real answer. Should have read the get. A woman not supposed to read a get. She doesn't have to wait to see if it's an islandess. It's not reasonable to make her wait or to make her read the get. She's supposed to be able to assume these things. So the Gemara says in parentheses, pasuk. Sounds like pasuk based on what the Gemara just said. You can't rely on these answers. And there's no taina. Even if you have a taina, my havel mevet, we still don't allow you to go back to the first husband. But the poskim say over here, the article brings down the fun over here. The nagging question, of course, here the nagging question, of course, why is it so? right? Why indeed, in brackets over here, why indeed should she have done? Right? It's interesting that our school writes in brackets. Usually with brackets, we accept the halacha. Parentheses, we don't accept, but our school wrote it in brackets. So, our school writes the main question, why can't we? She relied on two Eidim. What should she have done? How can we paskin that she can't rely on Shnei Eidim and she can't go back to her original husband? So, they give it answers. Mamzerim are involved. Even with two Eidim, she should be careful. But the truth of the matter is really, Al Pi Svara, it makes sense to say. Like Rosh Hashanah, the Rabban would agree. The Rabban would agree. Right? We don't paskin like Rav. Doesn't say like Rav. Rav says, he says, the Machos Rosh Hashanah, the Rabban. Rosh Hashanah says, no, the Svara, my Levish, what should have done. So, first of all, because it's in parentheses, I wouldn't pass. And second of all, the Hemshach of the Gemara, next question, Amar Rav Ashi, what is the Gemara doing over here? All right, if you listen to Daf Yomi Share, I said it's an independent question. Before the Gemara was talking about the husband came back. Here we're talking about there's rumors, right? Based on the Eid Echad allows you to remarry, or Shtei Eidim allows you to remarry. And then there's rumors the husband might still be alive. Does she have to leave her new husband or not? And leave her first husband or not? Got to get from both of them. Right? Rav Ashi says, we don't mention anything about it in the Mishnah, so obviously we don't care about rumors. So the Gemara says, obviously we don't care about rumors. If she got married, the Gemara is Mechadish, even if she didn't get married, even just Eid Echad, and based in gave her a heter to remarry, and then the rumors came, which there might be more suspicion, they're actually true rumors, we still allow her to go and remarry. That's the Chiddush of the Gemara. But why does the Gemara bring this over here? So I want to say no. Rumors over here is not talking about the rumors that the husband is still alive. It's talking about the husband actually came back. That's what I mean. It's like kala, right? The husband, we're talking about a case where Shtei Eidim came, Shtei Eidim paskin, like we just said, we were just talking about. Shtei Eidim came and said, your husband's dead. And now the husband comes. Now, we don't know this is the husband. He tells me he's the husband. He's the one spreading the rumors, right? She's obviously denying it. She doesn't want us to. She'll second. Maybe she's quiet. We discussed this earlier, or she denies it. We discussed halachas earlier, but she's obviously not in agreement. She's either denying it or she's being quiet. She's not corroborating this is her husband. So he's spreading the rumor by being alive. He's the one himself. Hey, I'm here. I'm alive, right? So that's the Gemara is saying. Even though Shtei Eidim normally rely on, but when you have a kol after the Shtei Eidim, right? So then maybe we should be suspect over here. When you have a rumor, he's the one starting the rumor. So the Gemara says, if it was after Nisuin, of course, Rashi said one time, after Nisuin, we assume the husband is lying. He's not really the real husband because they got remarried. He just wanted to defame the woman and cause mamzerim. But the Gemara says, no, since if Eid Echad came, right, and therefore there's a heter even before, right? She's considered married once Basin gives her a psak to remarry. Too early nase, we'll see later. Once Basin gives her a psak to remarry, it's like an halacha she remarried already, and then a call after that, rumor after that is insignificant. So the Gemara is saying, just like over there, it's insignificant. Just like over there, it's insignificant. So maybe over here also, when two Eidim come, you don't need a psak of Basin. So therefore, even after the Nisuin, it should be like a call before the Nisuin, right? Call before the Nisuin. So Gemashmalah, no, that we treat it after the Nisuin is after the Nisuin. If it was a call before the Nisuin, so that would be halacha. That would be the halacha. She can't get remarried, and maybe she can't get remarried, and she can't go back to her first husband. But it is a first husband. She got remarried to this guy. If she wants to change her mind, I'll get married to this guy. Okay, this is my husband. I'll get married to him. She can't do that. So that's the Gemara's chiluk. The Gemara is saying that since we find that before the heter the call is invalid, so maybe here is invalid. No, Kamashma only after the nisuin is invalid. Before the nisuin it is valid. But the chiddush is that after the nisuin it's invalid, and we don't care about this man, and we do rely on the Shtei Eidim. And even if this guy comes and says, "No, I'm the husband," we don't believe him as long as they got married, and she can go back, and then after she changes her mind and she says, "Okay, it is my husband," she can go back to the original guy, uh, and remarry him, which was kind of interesting case that she first denied it, or she was quiet, and she got remarried to the second guy, right? Because she doesn't have to worry about the second guy, and then she, and then she says, you know what? Or it was proven that it was her husband. She had every right not to think it wasn't her husband. Maybe she didn't recognize her husband. She didn't think it was really her husband. The Edom, she could rely on the Edom as a bearer. She can rely on the Edom, and then then more Edom come and tell her it really is her husband. And then she says, oh, it really is my husband. She can go back. That's the Chiddush of the Gemara. She can even go back, even if it's her husband. She can go back to her husband. That's as far as we're willing to take. Shtei Edom matters her to remarry to her first husband, even if she was the one who denied it in the first place. But then it's proven that it is her husband. She can go back to him because Edom has that much power to prove that she was allowed to remarry. And that's a big Chiddush. She's allowed to remarry even though she denied it, or she was quiet and she seemed to deny that it was her husband. And then they prove it is her husband because she got married to the second guy, and then the husband came back. So therefore, it's okay. It was a mistake, and she can go back to her first husband. That's a big Chiddush. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you tomorrow.